Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching what we're doing here. I just want to give you an update. Today is Friday, March the 12th, and we, as you know, had a number of media reports this week about the airport tunnel, so I felt that it was time to give you an update. We have been receiving, especially in the last week, a lot of emails from all over the city, letters, phone calls, and what I need to do is try and answer some of the main questions that were asked in those emails and inquiries. First of all, let me talk about the Calgary Airport Authority. The Calgary Airport Authority really is an autonomous body. They lease the land from the federal government, and it's their land, so they can close Barlow Trail without our permission. They can build the runway without our permission or a new terminal. And so the land that even the crossing way where we would propose to put the tunnel, that's their land. But they have agreed to allow us to put the tunnel and that right-of-way across their land underneath the new runway. Now, I'll talk about some of the processes and what they've agreed to and what they haven't. They have agreed to allow us to use that land, but they've also agreed to allow us to have access at a later point on each side of the runway so that we can go down deep and bore underneath the runway, and we will have access from that land from both sides. We've also talked to them about the possibility of building just the structure itself, the cement structure. They have refused that right from the start. And really, it's not a winning idea anyway, because the majority of the 287 million, a majority of that, the estimate is for building the structure itself. So if we could build the cement structure, it wouldn't take that much for us to put the road underneath. Now, who's going to be affected by this? First of all, the Airport Authority will be putting up signs in the next week or two, apparently, on Barlow Trail that says the Barlow Trail will close permanently on April the 3rd, 2011. The people that are going to be affected are from all over the city, really. The businesses also. The businesses in the Northeast definitely are going to be affected because a lot of them built there and spent, by the way, hundreds of millions of dollars, especially the hotels and related businesses that deal with the airport. These businesses are going to be seriously affected because of the extra time that it takes for them to get there. The Sheraton Cavalier have done a study, and they've determined that for each of their shuttle buses running back and forth to the airport, the additional cost just in diesel fuel per month is $700 for each of the shuttles. That's not talking about how much extra wear and tear there is on those trucks. The residents that live in the Northeast definitely are going to be affected, and especially the workers who live in the Northeast and work at the airport. As you know, in that vicinity right around the airport, there's something like 18,000 jobs currently, and there will be in the next 20 years another 100,000 or so jobs all around there. So they're going to be affected in a negative way. The people that live in other parts of the city, like the Southwest or the Southeast, we've heard from them too, because they realize that if they're trying to catch a flight to get to the airport and there's an accident or any kind of a delay on Deerfoot, they're going to be in trouble making their flight. Even if they have arranged extra time, sometimes the Deerfoot can be shut down for hours at a time. So everyone in the city is going to be affected by the closure of Barlow Trail. One of the things that keeps coming up is the availability of transit and having transit to the airport, a speedy transit. The plan for the future, as far as the as far as the city is concerned, is to have the north central line of the LRT feed the airport with some kind of a people mover from the valley on the west side of the terminal. The problem is that that north central line is not planned for a few years. The next plan after the west LRT is to do the southeast LRT and then finally the north central. So what we had said in all of our campaigning for this tunnel was that by having the tunnel we could have a rapid transit, a BRT, going to the terminal from the northeast line very easily, and at some point down the road future councils would have a chance to build a leg of the LRT going east if they so desired. So that was one of the things that we debated constantly throughout this. I've got a lot of comments in the emails and that about the lack of leadership on the part of the city, on the part of the airport authority, the federal government, the province. The real problem lies, folks, with the city, because the city did not put this as one of their priorities, and that's a mistake, I believe, a serious mistake that's going to cost us dearly. But when we've gone to the province, to the federal government, and even to the airport authority, they constantly say to us, but the city has not listed this as one of their priorities. The province says, we give you all this MSI money, why wasn't some of that money spent on the tunnel, or at least money put aside for that? Now we did allocate $50 million towards the tunnel, but we can't handle this on our own. We have to have the province and the federal government coming to the table on this. Now, people have mentioned over and over again about the $25 million bridge. Of course, this comes up all the time in discussion, and of course it came up in our emails. The $25 million bridge is something that I disagreed with. Not necessarily the bridge, but I disagreed with the way the whole thing was done with a single source instead of out to an open tender. So that was something that bothered me. But I don't agree with all of the priorities that the City of Calgary has had. I believe this tunnel should have been the top of the priorities, and it wasn't. But we are a majority vote on council, and there has to be 8 votes in order to change these priorities. The final thing I want to talk to you about is just the future. There's a lot of positive things that happened throughout this last 2.5 years. The one most important thing is that we have been able to secure the tunnel and the tunnel option into the Calgary Transportation Plan. Getting it firmly in that CTP is something that's very important, because now we know that that will be an option for future councils when they decide to bore underneath the tunnel to put it in there. We've also secured the roads at the proper standard of expressway on the east side, and over the next few years we're of course going to have to be very vigilant on this to make sure that those roads stay ready for the expressway whenever it's built. That we have to have, as a city, we have to have a plan, and we have to have some money. So one of the things that I think is important is that we start putting money away for this tunnel, and we have an actual plan of how we're going to build it. If we have that and we go back to the province and the federal government and show them what it is that we're doing, I believe at that point they'll come to the table and help us complete this. So the fight is not over. We've lost one battle, but the war is still on, as far as I'm concerned, for the people of Calgary, because this is something that is absolutely necessary for the future of this city and for proper movement of goods and services and proper ways for people to get to the airport rather than being stuck just in a traffic jam on Barlow Trail, or on Deerfoot Trail, I'm sorry. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Stay tuned, and please call our office or email us. Let us know what it is that we can do to help you, and if you're not getting the information, we'll do our best to get the proper information to you. Thank you again.